Hello, 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 everyone. Oh, it's so awesome to see all your beautiful faces. Please pop your camera on if you are feeling decent enough to put your camera on. I would love to see your face. It makes it a little bit easier than smiling into the void. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have you all join me. We've got so many people just really eager to learn, and it's just an awesome environment to be in. I'm pumped to spend an hour with you. And just while I get my screen sharing sorted, hello, Lucy. If you just want to pop in the chat where you're coming from, I'd love to know what you do. And if you want to pop your handle in there as well, that would be awesome. Just so we're all here supporting each other. Give everyone a follow if you find someone's work interesting. This is kind of why we're all here to learn off each other. So just get my screen sharing sorted. Bear with me a second. Oh, thumbs up. We've got a slide on the screen. Yeah, awesome. Cool. All right. Oh, so great. Sydney, so good to see you. Brisbane, Aussies, love having you here. That's so cool. Awesome. I will jump straight into it because we've got quite a lot to cover tonight. Upper Heart, awesome. Melbourne, so good to see you guys. Steph, great to have you from Wales. So this topic has been something that I have had come up in my DMs and messages so often, and I actually did a masterclass on this earlier in the year. But if you were at that one, you're still in store tonight for some revisions, some juicy stuff, and some things we haven't heard before. Everything changes so quickly, so I'm always making sure that I'm testing some things out so I can pass it on to you guys, and just so we're working through all the changes in the digital landscape that's happening at the moment as well. So let's break it all down. Awesome. So I'm going to share with you tonight the one thing that I believe has moved the needle the most for my sales and my growth in the last 9 to 10 years of building my art business, and how it's helped me go from working in my corporate job and doing my art on the side. In any spare moment that I had, it made me able to quit my job and take my art full time, which was just my ultimate dream. The methods that I will share tonight and share with you today have gotten me to a point where I am earning triple what I was actually earning when I was in that same corporate job. And that is absolutely not a flex by any means. I just want you to know that being a full-time artist who books and earns consistent profits is possible. And actually, a lot of the time, it's actually just us that's holding us back. It's not all about the money in the end, though. I do actually have huge flexibility in work, and I can work the hours I want for whatever best fits in with my family life. And actually, one of the biggest things for me, which I mention a lot on my social media, is that my career progression isn't dependent on the types of work that my boss hands me. It's completely up to me, and pitching truly helps you take control of this whole thing as well. So I'm absolutely not here to say all of that to make you jealous or feel any kind of way. I'm saying it because I didn't think it was actually possible for myself. And I really want to share with you how you can also take things into your own hands and make it happen, because it's really possible. Okay, so we're all here today because we are creatives who are looking for ways to live our dream life. Pretty much, I think that we can all agree we just want to do our art, get paid well for it, and have the flexibility to work on really cool projects as well as test out our own ideas. Tonight, I really want you to feel comfortable and like you're in the right place. So my aim is to tell you how pitching has changed the way I run my business. And I want to let you in on every step that I'm currently doing to ensure that my client list and my earnings are always growing. I am a big oversharer, which I think tonight we'll all benefit off, hopefully. And especially when it comes to my business, I love oversharing on that topic. So the context of our conversation today is all about how we get out of the place where we feel stuck, frustrated, or like nothing that we're trying is working in our creative businesses. Everything I'm sharing today is things that I have tested myself and that have worked in gaining me consistent clients and the growth that I keep talking about. I really want you to feel that all of these baby steps are doable and they demystify a lot of the behind the scenes on how artists are actually making a good living out of their craft. So I'll be breaking things down into really actionable steps so that we can set ourselves up for really big success and hopefully really easily. The session is meant to equip you and make you feel ready and confident for consistent reaching out online and also if in person if you're ready. We want to be ready for our potential clients if we're at a networking event or we get thrust in the face of somebody. We want to have a professional, succinct package of all your services that'll actually get you hired. I don't believe that being a successful artist is passive, but the things that we learn and put in place today will snowball and compound over time so that you're getting yourself known by all the right people. I mentioned before, but if you have come to some of my past masterclasses, there's a few refreshers that you might be reminded of in the class, but there's also quite a lot of new content that I've been implementing in the last 4 months in my own business. There's also no silly questions, so please reserve these for the end. There'll be a little bit of time for some Q&A on whatever you want. Awesome. Did I go there? Yeah, great. The Pitch Like a Pro method is one that will result in confidence and direction. We will know exactly who to focus on and not wasting time on the people who are guaranteed to ghost us, pretty much. It's going to bring you projects that have bigger budgets and more creative briefs. It's going to position you as an expert and a professional in your field. It's also going to give you confidence to plan ahead to either decrease the hours at your day job, if that's what you wish, or even potentially look to quit and take your art full time as well, if that's what you want. And one of the steps in this method will also help you stand out to all of your dream clients in a sea of artists that you see all over your feed. So we're going to try and look at how we can be really unique while we wait for those responses. To start living out my artistic dream and to make good enough money to quit my day job, I wanted to feel really confident in securing steady clients and at the same time pricing them correctly so I was being valued and also not missing out on work. So if you're here tonight, I get why you're here. I've been there, so I'm really pumped to have you on board as well. I wanted one easy process on how to grow my business that honestly just didn't exist out there about 9 years ago. I feel as we are creatives, we're all so unique, which is just amazing, but I think it leaves so much ambiguity and question marks out there for how we're actually meant to tackle our craft as a business. So yeah, I would have just killed to have someone walk me through it and hold my hand. So it's pretty much why I'm here tonight. Okay. So tonight we are learning the Pitch Like a Pro method, which is created by me. And this is exactly what we're going to be going through. I'm going to take you through how to create a full professional pitch deck that actually gets you noticed and hired. By the end of tonight, you will hopefully have one designed and ready to send out if you didn't have one already. I'm going to show you how to flirt to convert the big dog clients that you've been dreaming of working with. We're also going to be looking at a casual direct messaging sliding approach. And I want to show you how being more casual can sometimes actually be the best approach with certain clients. When it comes to pitching, sometimes it's figuring out actually who the best people are to approach. So I've also come up with something that I call the right fit formula. Really, really simple, and it's going to help us work out who exactly we should be targeting, not just the people that we think we want to target or that we think we should be targeting. I'm going to give you the exact email that I use in my business to get booked, and I'll be sharing the exact ingredients of what I put into my cold emails to get responses and ones that have actually landed me some of my biggest jobs. I've also created a free Notion template that I'll pop in the chat at the end of the night that you can take with you. So this will help make a plan so that every week you can confidently reach out to 10 new possible clients, which means that after a year, you would have landed in front of at least 520 new clients. Sounds like a lot, but we're going to simplify it tonight, so hopefully it's made a lot easier. My hope is that you walk away from this chat with really practical key things that you can immediately implement and start steering yourself to earning more money as an artist, and ultimately help you to get to a point where you're able to quit that job if you want, take your art full time, or just feel a little bit of freedom and earning a little bit more cash. The techniques and methods that I'll be teaching today have helped my business get off the ground to the point where I now have to do a lot less pitching than I used to. Because of that word of mouth, it becomes so much stronger and a real superpower. So that's kind of the stage we want to get to. I know it seems like a lot, but I really don't want to leave you with any missing links. So we're going to leave tonight feeling inspired and equipped. And I'll also just mention as a little thing there, is this is just a really small part of what and how I teach in the course called Passion to Profession, which I've created for artists specifically to lock in consistency, focus, and more profits in their business. Just really briefly, I'll give you a bit of context about myself and my background in case you haven't heard it before, and also to share why my style of teaching might be a little different to other online art or business courses you might find, and maybe why it might be a little bit helpful to you as well. So I studied and worked in architecture for 10 years, and about 7 years into that, I started doing my art on the side, gradually doing some art for friends and family. And I tried also getting my work into some exhibitions. I got into one exhibition in the very start of my career. I spent 3 months working up a huge body of work, but I sold nothing. And I'm sure that some of us can relate to that feeling. I was absolutely devastated. But we all start somewhere. And at this point, I was also charging next to nothing. And although I thought my drawings were all right, I had no reference or anyone that I could ask to tell me otherwise. I also at this point just always thought that this would be a side gig for me. I didn't think it was a viable career option, and I was actually really worried about what people would think of me if I quit my really stable job that I had studied so hard for. The first 3 years, I did commissions here and there, and I spent very little time on the business side of things, which also meant I had no time to pitch myself as well. These things started to shift a little bit after I entered a few paid competitions, and I put myself out there with pitching as well. I started to kind of wonder if it would be more than just a side hustle, just by some of the indications I was getting, but I was still really undercharging, and I didn't have a good handle on what type of clients I wanted to work with. And I also felt that I was just trying to guess my way through getting commissions and sales. At this point, I did decide to go down to 4 days work in my architecture job, which surprisingly was a huge pay cut. Who would have thought? But I worked out that I could still survive, and it gave me some space to work on my marketing and actually seeing if it could really be a real business for me. During this year, I gained a bit of clarity on what my brand might look like, which included things like packaging, logos, colors, and how I wanted my art to be experienced by people. My prices also went through their first price increase, which was really exciting. Mind you, I was still underpaid, probably around $10 an hour after tax. But it all came to a head when COVID hit, and some of you may have heard this part of my story, but there was this Facebook page that popped up in New Zealand, and it showcased local New Zealand products and small businesses. And it started to gain a little bit of traction. So again, I thought, why not? I'll just chuck my stuff out there and see how it lands. Essentially like a soft pitch. So I sent them some information, some photos of what I do, and I woke up to about 3,000 likes and so many inquiries that I was booked out for 18 months. It prompted me to decrease my hours at my corporate job so I could try and fulfill all the orders that were coming in. But I also sit there and realize how frustrating it is hearing about certain posts going viral. But I will say this is just a very small drop in the ocean of the opportunities that I had tried and pitched for at this stage. And it's one of the big reasons I'm teaching on the topic tonight. I was entering competitions and messaging people all over the place. So yes, there was this moment of serendipity or a God moment for me, but it was absolutely a moment that came out of testing, trying, and throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. Since then, I've invested in my own studio space, had my commissions consistently sell out, and worked with some really cool brands like Trade Me, QT Hotels, and Google. The reason I so badly wanted to share on a masterclass like this and eventually go on to create a course for creatives is because there's so many people out there saying that you can't make a living if you're an artist, and that being a creative means you have to sacrifice a huge paycheck. But I can tell you now, I am living proof that it's absolutely possible, even when you don't think it is. And I'm just really desperate for all of you amazing, talented people to figure out how to do it too. So what I'm sharing tonight, and even throughout anything that I teach, doesn't mean that you'll be able to quit your job tomorrow or that clients will be flying at you straight away necessarily. But every step that I walk you through, I've tested myself and has gotten me to this point, where I get to take time off when I need to, take breaks when I want, and work when I want. And I love my job as well. Keep in mind there's a lot of overtime in there as well, but the flexibility's pretty great. Cool. So I bet some of you can relate to all or a few of the early feelings that happened in my story. If you want to show me that I'm not alone, chuck it in the chat. I'd love to see a few waves there, if you feel like these hit home as well. I doubted that people would even buy my work in the beginning. I was really worried that people would judge me for raising my prices and also quitting my stable, good job. I was worried that any money I spent on my business would just be money down the drain and it wouldn't actually help me grow. And I really didn't want to become that cringy salesperson and lose all of my values to just make a little bit of money. I was also really scared of rejection, and when I would get ghosted or no answer from my pitches, I would stop pitching for months on end, which was an absolute mistake for me. So before I jump in, I will be honest, being a full-time artist and specifically everything we're talking about tonight around pitching is definitely not passive. It means treating your art like a business and consistently showing up and putting yourself out there. In my opinion, there actually isn't easy hacks out there to have longevity in your business. It does take a lot of hard work, but there are simpler ways to do things and more fun, creative ways to strategize and market yourself so that you can make sure that the hard work does actually turn into really good income for you and your family. Trust me when I say this, when this pitch like a pro method is used consistently, it starts an ecosystem of your business that will bring word of mouth to your brand and give you confidence in your next paycheck, even with the stigmas around that starving artist or freelancer. Awesome. So if you want to grab that workbook, if you have it downloaded, if you don't, I'll just have it popped in the chat now anyway. Awesome. Yeah, don't stress if it's not printed. It'll be really easy to follow along anyway. But I do encourage you to either take notes or sketch out some plans as we go. So before we dive into the actual pitch, I just want to clarify briefly where this fits in the huge fog of the world of business as an artist, just so we have an understanding of its importance and also the other things that need to be in place to support this part of your business. As artists, we not only need our creative, beautiful work, but to actually see success and have the possibility to make this a career, we need to treat it like a business, like I've said. What that means is making sure that our business has the following: a good outreach strategy, marketing, clear branding and communication, all the legal stuff, and of course, the beautiful, creative, talented work. I felt that I needed to teach on pitching tonight because it's such a strong part of taking our future into our own hands. And when we have all of these 5 things that I've just mentioned and we have that strong pitch, I do think we're pretty unstoppable as creatives. So we can't leave our businesses up to chance encounters or even that hopeful amount that we might be seeing on our social media. I only learned this stat like a few months ago, but 2 to 4% of your audience actually sees your work on social media and about 50% through your email marketing. And that's not to say that we shouldn't do those things, because A lot of the work that I've had has come through social media or email marketing. It's a powerful free marketing tool that we can use and we can talk about for a long time, another time. But for now, I just wanted to highlight those stats because if we do just sit by and hope that these things would work, our businesses would become a bit stagnant. And I believe that we would just have no real control over who works with us and who we're talking to. So obviously you all know what I'm about to say, and it's pretty much why I believe so much in having a strong pitch up your sleeve that you can either pull out of your back pocket when you meet a prospective client or that you can use on a more consistent basis to reach out week to week to the people that you dream of working with. We want these pitches to be effective, unique, but also not take us so much time that we never actually sit down and do it. Because often we just put it into that too hard basket and we never get to it and we never get to those clients. We want our pitches to reflect our creativity and our brand. And what I mean by that is it has to go hand in hand with our website, our colors, our logos, all of those things. So today we will be looking at base layouts and how you might arrange those pitch decks. That's what I'm calling them tonight. But keep in mind when you actually do go to design it, it should follow your fonts, colors, and the things of your business. Another quality of a strong pitch is one that is direct and to the point. The reality is our future clients don't have heaps of time to scroll through thousands of photos of what we've previously worked on. They just want to know how you're going to solve their problems in the best way and proof that you're going to do a good and professional job. So when creating our pitches, we want to keep them short, concise, and straight to the point. Keep in mind, though, this doesn't have to mean that it's unfriendly or stagnant. For us artists, a great pitch also has to reflect our creativity and wow factor. So don't hold back on this. Bragging is what we want here. Show them your absolute best work. Tell them the big dog client that you just worked with. Talk about how many hours of murals you've done. All of these things add to the proof that our future clients want to see in order to book us. In the Pitch Like a Pro method, there are 3 stages of pitching. They're all key and important, and they all have different applications. If we were to treat every single prospective client the same, they would see right through it, and we wouldn't be seen as a thought leader in our space or someone that even cares about them as a client. And these days, there is so much that is sounding like ChatGPT and other generic emails that more often than not, we will just get ignored or treated as spam. So stage 1 is going to be flirt to convert. Stage 2, the direct message or DM slide. And stage 3 is the professional pitch. I'm going to show you the one version of a professional pitch that is more general in nature. And this is a really good base point, but just keep in mind that sometimes there is more use for targeted pitch decks. For example, if you were doing a mural or a surface pattern or an exhibition. We like to kind of double down when we can. All right, pitching and cold calling sometimes does get a bad rap. So I do understand this because it can be really awkward. But I'm living proof of that saying that if you don't ask, it will always be a no. I held back for so long because I was afraid of what people would think. Once I got a little bit of mojo and got over myself, I found that if I was prepared with my pitch and selling myself and the work that I truly believed could change someone's life, I started getting those higher sales and more consistent work, which ultimately led on to more word of mouth clients who became a real staple in my business. So this flirt to convert, while I'm teaching you to be direct and go after the clients that you want and to pitch to your heart's desire, I also want you to think about the long game. I'm talking about those top tier companies or the brands that you think that might be slightly out of your reach at the moment. What I want you to do is I want you to flirt with them. So I'll explain this a little bit. We had a chat recently on a call with my mentor, and we were talking about how if you walk up to a hot person at a bar and you just start trying to chat them up straight away, they are less likely to want to date you immediately, as opposed to the person who you sit across from the room with, You wink a little bit, you send them a free drink, you flash a few smiles, and then you decide to approach them. Flirting with those larger client types, or even some of the smaller ones, looks like following everything they do, commenting on their posts, engaging with them genuinely in their DMs. That way, in the future, when you feel a bit more primed to cold email them, they'll be really aware of who you are and know that you've been genuinely interested in them for a really long time without actually wanting anything in return. When choosing the people you'll be pitching to, consider having some in your goal, what I call like a goal list, and spending a couple of months consistently flirting with them along the way. Now, I'm not talking stalker vibes. I'm genuinely talking about connection, curiosity, compliments, and just showing a real interest in them and their business. They're more likely to consider you when you've spent a long time engaging with them without asking for anything in return. Stage 2 is the DM slide. And this is something I have been surprised by and have been testing a lot and using for the last 4 months. And it is working really, really well, surprisingly. If you know a brand or business is quite active on their socials, or it's potentially a smaller business where the owner might be actually more hands-on and probably actually running the social media themselves, consider sending them a casual, no strings direct message. So my direct message looks a little bit like this. I'm going to use a bit of an example here. So this is my DM. Hey, Christchurch Airport team. Just wanted to jump in and say that I love what you do showcasing XYZ. I was hoping to be put in touch with the right channels to chat about the possibility of collaborating together on a design, mural, or marketing campaign. I grew up in Canterbury and my usual clients are huge travelers, so I thought I'd just be a perfect fit. No expectations, just throwing my hat in the ring if anything was to align in the future. Ellie. Really, really simple. Really casual, no commitment, and what I'm finding is it's hitting really well. So we need to be selective and strategic on who we send these to. It shouldn't just be used as the lazy option. It's a step in the right direction to hopefully help you get an email address or a contact that might then lead to a pitch or even a meeting for a project. Surprisingly, I have gotten replies from 90% of the companies and brands that I have been direct messaging, which is a much larger response rate than you'd usually get if you sent an email to a company's admin email address. I also had someone reply this week and book a meeting straight from a direct message. So if that's not saying anything, take what you will from that. I will also caveat this by saying, if you are using this as a part of your strategy, you need to make sure that you have a strong Instagram or whatever social platform you're using. This is why posting regularly and posting quality, or what's aligned to you, is really, really key. It opens doors for things like these cold direct messages to land really well, because they immediately click through to your profile and see exactly what it would be like to work with you. So before approaching this step, have a think if you're happy with how your socials represent you. And if you are happy, spend a couple of weeks, or if you're not happy, spend a couple of weeks posting consistently about the things that you want to work on, and then try the direct messaging approach. So the way that I follow up the DM slide, that I'm calling it, is if I get a response and they give me a contact email, I then send another very chill email, similar to the direct message, but just adding on a little bit. And if they'd like to check out more of your work, here's your website, and that you also have a pitch deck to send them on hand if you want to, if they had a project in mind. So stage 3 is the pitch and email. This is more of a professional approach, one that either you can use straight after you get that email address from your cold direct message, or you could just use it on its own if you like. The one I'm going to walk you through today is a general pitch deck, one that is a basic introduction of you and what you offer. But there are some other pitch decks that I have personally saved for my business, ready to go in my back pocket for more specific job types, like I mentioned, the mural pitch or corporate gifting, things like that. So we don't have time to go through them today, but I did think it was helpful just to mention that there are different cases where you need to be a bit more pointed and have a bit more of a specific pitch deck to secure the job. Side note, those are all in my course. If you do decide to join, you get all of those as a part of it. So if everyone wants to get out their workbooks, if you have them on hand, that would be awesome. Or if you just want to follow along and take notes, that's super cool as well. So the way we're going to work through this exercise is I'm going to start by quickly flicking through my personal example pitch deck that I've used in the past, just to give you a full view of what it can look like, kind of zoomed up. And then page by page, you can look at how you might configure your own. So my personal general pitch deck is 8 pages and starts with a money shot introduction and a simple, straight to the point line that tells people what I do down the bottom of the page. The intention of this page is to almost start the deck off like we would a presentation. Picture someone printing this off and giving it to their boss to get a sign off, or even possibly bringing this document up in a board meeting to get others on board to hire you. We have to imagine where this pitch deck might land and prepare it so that it serves us in a lot of different situations. I'm just going to quickly flick through the next 7 pages so you get an idea of what they look like, and then we'll jump into the exercise. Awesome. So this first exercise is great if you have no pitch deck ready to go. Or if you know you need to update yours, that's cool too. If you've got that first page in front of you, pretty much what I want you to do is just tick the layout you think would be best suited to your brand, or the one you like visually. This may seem like a really simple exercise, but if I know anything about us creatives, it's that sometimes it's better to have something to start off with, parameters and a base, and go from there. I often personally feel decision paralysis, so hopefully it helps you to have just a little base to work from. And then when you set aside the time to actually make your pitch deck, it'll happen so much faster, and you'll have a feel for what might work compositionally, and also what others are doing out in the art sphere as well. So start by choosing where your money shot is going to be, how it's going to be positioned on the page. The area it will occupy is just indicated by the big X on the example. A money shot for me is a term that pretty much means it's one of your best images. One that gives that wow factor or shows off a part of your brand really well. We don't want this front page to be too busy. When we're introducing ourselves, it needs to be simple, and we need to keep that in mind when choosing this front image. On this page, I like to have 2 versions of my logo. My main symbolic logo, which for some of you might be a symbol or an icon that you use to sometimes represent your business. But this may not have your name or any text supporting it. Then we actually want to make sure that they do know our name by having the name version of our logo, which a lot of you will have, or just simply your name and text right at the bottom of that page. Try not to be super creative with what's underneath that name. So we want to make sure they know what we do. So we want to be boring and understandable so anyone can look at our pitch deck and know exactly the service we provide. For example, it could be muralist, watercolor artist, or photographer. Second page is super easy, pretty much meant to be just that wow image that makes people want to keep looking through your pitch deck and diving deeper into what you do. This image is often best when it shows details of your work that are those wow qualities. This could be close-ups of detail, it could be large-scale works, or even I really love seeing lots of products en masse. If you have lots of prints, having them in an array can be really beautiful. Maybe you have a super unique product or a fun project that you worked on that wasn't even for a client but makes you really stand out. That's what I would put here. These are just 2 configurations I've suggested. Again, this is just to keep it simple. We don't want to overload our pictures because they start to become confusing and almost just like a portfolio. Clients just don't have the time to look through or even the interest to be wading through millions of our photos, even though I'm sure they're brilliant, but they don't. Okay, this is our about page. You could come up with a way snappier headline than about. It could be like, hi, it's me, or hello, any kind of headline that fits in with your business and the way that your brand voice is going to be heard. But again, let's just start with that image. It gives us a great base to work off for the rest of the pitch, makes it really easy. When you're choosing this image, it's great if you have one of you working or even a headshot type image, but we love an intro image with personality. So try and show that here by making sure you're looking into the camera, whether your vibe is smiling, laughing, or just looking a bit sassy. We just want to see what that is, and we just want the clients to understand a little bit more about you here. Feel free to choose your arrangement of your text here as well, while I just go through some important points to cover in this bit of text. I recently been listening to an amazing entrepreneur and teacher called Daniel Priestley. Some of you may have heard of him. He's an Aussie. But I wanted to touch on something that he talks about and that all entrepreneurs and business owners need to learn for both our about pages and for also when we're introducing ourselves in pretty much any setting. So Daniel talks about this thing called name, same, fame, aim, and game. And what he means by this is when we're introducing ourselves to anyone, whether that's a pitch or a podcast or a newspaper interview or anything, we start with our name. So I'll give you an example. Hi, I'm Ellie. I run an art studio called Maker of Chaos Studios. And then we talk same. So the things that are the same as our business so that people can easily understand what we do. And again, I want you to think boring and direct. So don't try and be too creative here. So mine would be I create murals, custom art, and marketing campaigns for businesses. The next is fame. So here I want you to talk about something that you can brag about. A big client, an award, or if you have none of that and you're starting out early, sometimes even statistics that you might have around your work can work really well. So you could think of like, I don't know, 100 hours of painting or 500 liters of paint or, just fun stats that make it kind of feel bigger. So for me, my part would be I have worked with global brands like Google, Trade Me, QT Hotels, and worked with over 600 clients on custom artworks. The next part is aim. So what is your short-term mission? And these are the things that you're aiming for at the moment. So here's an example for me. I just find this the easiest way to explain it. So for me at the moment, I am expanding into teaching artists around the world how to do business well in order to quit their 9-to-5 jobs, and also at the same time locking in large-scale mural projects for companies who want their story and message told through bold mural art. And the very last part of that is game. And this is about your long-term vision. So what is the ultimate goal of what you do and why does it matter? For example, my game is my big vision is to inspire and connect people to companies and communities through the power of art, while also showing other artists how to be successful in business and have long-standing art careers. So if you work through I'll go through it again, name, same, fame, aim, and game for this about section. And also if you just practice it to have it on hand, it's a game changer for your confidence when you're approached by anyone who is wanting to know what you do. Honestly, it's just like, it empowers you and you feel really good about yourself too. On this page, if you have the ability to pop a link as well directly to your website in a PDF, that can be a really good addition as well. Everyone has different ways of engaging with our work as artists. So sometimes offering a different way that people can consume your pitch is also a great idea. Or have a link to a video you've made that might show off your best work. So our services page has the potential to be really overcrowded. And we just absolutely don't want that. So again, choose the configuration of how you might arrange your images, and this will help with your base of this page. I like to mix it up and sometimes have more of a grid-like fashion, like the one that I've kind of displayed here, which has a diverse range of images displaying the different things and different services that I have with the text alongside. But I do often actually really slim it down on some of my other pictures where I only show 1 to 3 services on a page with specific images relating to those things. With the text portion, I definitely recommend choosing 1 to 3. I know I've got kind of 5 on the page if you want. Selecting 1 to 3 of your services to list. You can change these depending on who you're pitching to as well. So remember that this is just a base pitch deck that we can have in our back pocket and edit when we need to. I also love to break up the pitch deck with a little bit of a image softener so the clients don't feel too bogged down with information, and I kind of leave it so that the images and the money shots do a lot of the persuading on their own. So I recommend just having one image here on this page, maybe choose a mock-up or an image of multiple pieces of your work. You'll know what suits best for you. This next page I've just popped in as an optional one. If you have worked with any clients who you would love to brag about, pop them here. Or alternatively, you could use those statistics that I talked about, 1,000 hours of professional painting or 100 clients across 3 cities or anything like that. Try and get a bit creative with it if you feel like you don't have a base of brands behind you. It can be a really fun way to show your career proof. So page 7 again is about showing proof to our potential clients so that they feel they can already trust us and that they want to work with us. So if you don't have any current testimonials, I would encourage you to send a quick email or direct message to someone you've worked with and just ask if they wouldn't mind writing 2 sentences on something specific they loved about working with you. People actually love to spread happy words of encouragement, so don't feel shy about asking for these. It will help boost your sales so much. And just think of how much stuff that we ultimately buy from influencer marketing. It's just simply because they loved the product and they wanted to tell people about it, and then we buy it. So let these testimonials be your influence to potential clients. This final page here is just to give them a call to action. And of course, all of your contact details as well, so that they know how to get in touch with you. Again, we really want to leave them with a killer money shot so that you can use this as your background and arrange it in one of the alternate ways if you don't want that whole page. Make sure you have your name or your logo version of your name somewhere on that page, and just make sure you've got your contact details all correct, because that can be an easy one to muck up and then you wonder why no one's contacting you. Awesome. I hope you're all feeling all right after that. If you followed along, it's pretty amazing that in a space of 10 minutes, we've been able to kind of come up with a draft of how you might arrange your first pitch. So as I've said before, the aim of this is to have it ready to go so that we have something in our back pocket we can pull out if we meet a prospective client that wants to know more, or so that we can reach out in this more consistent basis without putting it in that too hard basket, and that it doesn't feel too stressful, like it's going to take too much time. I was able to land a client purely because I met them in person at a networking event and said that I would send them something the next morning. And because I had that pitch deck ready to go, I was able to send a fully professional document alongside my website to them that had all the information that they needed. And that was one of the main reasons that they actually hired me, because of how quickly I was able to send them a presentation at that standard, which would have looked like it probably would have taken me days. So the next way that we're going to increase our client list, excuse me, I'll just take a glass of water. So the next way that we're going to increase this client list and our sales as artists is by knowing exactly what to put in our emails when we're cold emailing people. We often have no idea of what other people do to pitch themselves. So I personally find it really helpful seeing transparently what other artists say and how they say it to land those jobs. So hopefully this is really helpful and can give you a little roadmap to possibly make your own. When we're contacting clients we want to work with, we often do go the email route, but I would like you to keep in mind how a brand or business possibly best works. They might be more active on LinkedIn, so sometimes that's a better place to contact them. Or as we've looked at, maybe a DM is actually more direct. I personally like to stick to email about 50 to 70% of the time, as I find it the most professional. But sometimes LinkedIn can be really, really great if you are focusing on more corporate clients, or if you don't actually have any direct email addresses in the businesses that you're hoping to work with. But I'll talk on that shortly of how we're going to lock those guys in. So our emails are going to be, again, direct, warm, and unique. This is not an email you will send en masse to a bunch of contacts. It is a base that you edit a small portion of it so that each client can see how you would directly work with them. The points that we need to touch on in our email is first acknowledging that you would like to be put in contact with the right person. This is just kind of, again, soft launching yourself because more often than not, we aren't reaching the right person straight away. So it's a great way to kind of get an answer from that email as well. Second, we use our name, same, fame, aim, and game to introduce ourselves. Third, this is where we show the company or the brand that we know and love a certain something about them, and also how your work specifically could apply or collaborate with them perfectly. Think really specific, and I recommend spending about 15 minutes or so really thinking creatively on what you could do for them. It's almost like coming up with your own project brief and proposing how it might work for this particular company. We want them to essentially walk away from this email being able to envisage exactly how your work and style would practically fit within their business without them having to put in any thought at all. We shouldn't leave it up to our prospective clients to imagine how great our art could look on their products. They don't have time for it, and often they're even not the creative minds, so they can't visualize it quite like we can. So it's our job to get them there. So let's help them get there. Then feel free to touch briefly on what the process could look like if you want. Try not to spend too much time on this. This can come later when you're locked in the project. But if you feel like it, that's where I would put that there, and ask them if they have any capacity for new projects or work in the future. This email is definitely a bit more formal, obviously, than the direct messages or LinkedIn messages. And you'll have to weigh up when is most appropriate to use either of these steps. But essentially tonight, I just wanted to equip you with every tool that you guys can choose what's applicable. So I want you to remember that generic just does not cut it. There's such a saturated market out there. If we go sending out mass emails, we are just going to slip into the fog of that deep, deep inbox that may get probably 10 to 20, if not more, pitches every week. And I will beg you, please don't use ChatGPT to write this email. AI is really great for a lot of strategy things, a lot of things in our business. But in this case, every person and their dog is using it to write emails. So it won't help you in standing out when we're trying to pitch ourselves. People see honesty and they recognize when you have genuinely taken the time to think about how your style will apply to their business. So really don't skip this step, and try to make sure that your passion comes through in the wording as well. When you're brainstorming your unique position or how you could solve a problem for them, think about how different you are as a person. And so I'll give a little example here. For example, you might be a watercolor artist and you might have just gone to Fashion Week and just because you love the fashion, you use these unique traits to help you stand out, and you might use them in a way to create like a fake brief that could be designing the inside liner of a handbag, for example, and pitching it as a celebration bag for next year's Fashion Week. Just an example of bringing together something that you love, something that's different and that matches with that potential client, that gets their attention and shows an application of how you might work together. Again, it can be fun. Get creative, have a bit of fun with it. That's what I would do. Okay, so now we have to figure out the who to target and who to pitch to. I'll give you some realistic figures from my own books. I only book about 5 to 8% of the jobs that I pitch to. So if you think about it, if you're only sending out one every month or so, the stats around securing paid work gets pretty grim. It's both a strategy and a numbers game, so we have to play both. So here is the strategy part and how we narrow down the who to people who are more likely to book us and say yes. In your workbooks, and I put it as like a little table in the workbooks, but in the Notion template that you'll get at the end of this class, really easy to fill it in. So you can use that later. You'll see the formula there. I will just show you how I would use my business, or how I do use my business as an example in this formula. So I populate that first column really, really easy with all of my locations. So I want you to start small and local because again, it is more likely that you will book these jobs. And once you have them under your belt, definitely we can go bigger. I mean, look, I'm not stopping you going big, but this is just a real suggestion that I've found has worked for me at the moment. But once we have those under our belt, we'll feel more confident in our portfolio as well. So for me, it looks like New Zealand, South Island, Christchurch, which is the city I live in, and you could even be specific in terms of if you were in the CBD or a suburb, if you really wanted to. The next column there, I put in a list of your interests and your values. Keep in mind that these don't have to be anything to do with your art or your style. The next one, I want you to write your skills. So things like how you would apply your art to each project. Could be murals, corporate gifting, live drawing, marketing, stationery, all of those things. And the last column, well, second to last column there is all about past themes. So I want you to look at past themes that are common throughout some of the people you've worked with or the projects that you've done. So for me, the big ones that stand out are businesses often come to me when they're trying to celebrate a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year birthday. Or it could be that someone comes to you often for event launches or a product launch. Other ones are companies that have done collaborations with other artists. So I find that companies who are really prolific in finding artists and using them to kind of showcase products is another one that's a really great one to target. People that introduce new products, hospitality. Anyway, you guys can go through and analyze your own businesses. Could be travel, whatever. Another one I will throw out there just to kind of get your brains ticking. There could be some things like children. You might be a mum, charities, schools, retail, all of these things. Your past clients have come to you for a reason. So if there's a through line there, it will be because your work is a good fit for that event or that product or that industry. And often we miss this and we just go, oh, it's so wonderful they've come to us. But actually, if you look at those themes, try and use it to your advantage because there might be some people that you're missing at first glance. When selecting who you're going to pitch to, I want you to make sure that they fit into multiple of these categories. It's going to help you laser focus on people who are actually more aligned with you, more as a person, but also as a business as well, and they're more likely to say yes. So once we have these things entered, we can use the strength of AI to help us find the people who fit in multiple of these categories. We use ChatGPT and ask them, for example, myself here I'll use, give me 10 New Zealand companies who are involved in fitness or travel that are turning a major business birthday 5, 10, 20 years in the next year. Or give me a list of Christchurch companies that have an annual conference or an event. These are things that are very hard to search up, but now that we do have the tools to have this really quick, these are the things that I love using for my business to shortcut that kind of research stage. So mix and match them. It can be really interesting to see what businesses come out. The last column there is a really easy one. If there are businesses that already follow you on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, send them a direct message and connect with them. They obviously like your work, so it's a really easy option to put them on your list if they align with some of the other columns as well. Now you can use chat for this, like I said, or even just sit and think of the clients who might fit with some of these topics, but get specific. And this is the Notion template, the little glimpse at the Notion template I'll give you here. And just populate it whenever you have the space and time. If you think of a business, if I think of someone I want to pitch to in the middle of the day, I'm like, oh, go to my Notion template, chuck it in. Don't have to pitch to them then, but it means that I have it there ready to go. It just means, yeah, future you can go straight to that list, see who's up next, and skip straight to the direct messaging step or that email step. So populate them into the free Notion template that I've made for you. And if you haven't been on Notion, briefly, I'll just say it's just a really free, easy organizational app that you can use. So I personally do 2 pitches a day. You might do 1 a day or a couple a week, but I can tell you now that I only spend 15 minutes of every day doing this. And I know it's setting up my business so that I am regularly showing up to new clients, and the people that I'm direct messaging today might come back to me in a year's time. So I'm kind of thinking about future me, and I think that we have to really start preparing for that. You also never know if you're going to be the solution to someone's problem. A really, really small story I'll just tell is that last week I sent a message to a company who was following me, and I'd noticed it, and I said, hey, we've been following each other, love what you do. She set up a meeting. We had a meeting that week, and I pitched to her something around Christmas, and she goes, oh, Christmas is a huge problem to me. Great, you've helped solve it. And it was one of those moments where I was like, you just have no idea who's sitting there with a problem waiting for someone to solve it. I think so often we think that everyone's got all of their people sorted, but actually a lot of the time you can be the solution, or you could be just sending them a message at the right time. So that is all I'll say about that. So the template is just shared in the chat now if you want to download that. It's the one I use every day. I'd love for you to commit to at least 1 pitch a day if you can. And once you have your first direct message and your pitch deck created, it's so easy. Just fire it off to the next one and mold it a little bit to make sure it's specific and unique. When I say that pitching allowed me to quit my job, truly not kidding. Over the years, my income has increased based on the amount of businesses that I've pitched to and the processes that I've put in. And it's pretty astonishing to me even how life-changing it's been. So this plan will allow you to take some control, and you will honestly never know the timing, like I was mentioning, of when that email might hit in the right spot for a client. And while you're to wait for the responses from everybody, this next slide might seem a little left field, but it's something that I think is really key to talk through, and it's passion projects. So in your workbook, the next sheet will have a wee exercise on it, and I want you to think about, again, what you love. So this could be hobbies, obsessions, activities. They don't have to be specific to your art or your craft. Then in the next thing here, I want you to think about who you would most like to work with and what they're interested in. So for example, they might be into luxury, so champagne, red carpets, fancy cars, all of that stuff might be in kind of that box there. Then the last one is really easy, so it's again your artistic style. Whatever makes you unique and special, what's your style, things like that. Where all of these things intersect is where I believe that you can harness a little bit of creative superpower that is really, really unique and something that you not only love working on, but will get you noticed. So I'm going to give you a really brief example of something I've worked on in the past and how I would fill this exercise out myself. I love sport, love playing it, love watching it, supporting it, everything about it. Health and fitness is a really big part of my life. So I would pop that in the top part there. And when it comes to my dream clients, I have a lot, as you can imagine. But one I have on my current wish list would be Nike. Now, I know that mine are both linked. They don't have to be, but that's just how it's turned out. Um, but for example, Nike are interested in like wellness, health, basketball, motivation, all those things. And of course, my artistic style is using black and white illustrations to tell stories, using imagination and architecture. So what I did was I went and bought a couple of Nike basketballs. I have them at home and painted them to have my art all over them, telling motivational stories that Nike align with. It's not only a super fun exercise for me and something really different, but immediately I have amazing eye-catching content for my social media. And the images will look so unique because this isn't something that people usually do, and it's so intrinsically linked to myself and what I love as well. And I get to tag Nike if I want to in every post that I do. And knowing me and knowing you guys, if you're gung ho as well, you'll probably email it to them and be like, hey, look what I did. Check out what I did. Come work with me. For me personally, I don't see this as doing free work. We could have a whole nother hour-long conversation on that. But the reason that I say that is it's due to how it works for you on so many facets. Social media, there's potential for virality, not that you can predict that. They're really fun to pitch. They're great for reaching out to clients. But this is a really easy and fun way to both target your clients and tease out your creative brain to keep you excited. Going another little step, I went and bought an American football and a surfboard, and I'll keep going if it takes off. But people love series, so try creating a series around it, around the things you love, and where that intersects with the people that you want to work with. I think that's where the magic lies. It also counts as your marketing, so I feel like that's a win-win. These are briefly just some of the jobs I've gained personally through implementing pitching and passion projects. And they range from crazy sculptures for charity causes to luxury fashion and sports fashion collaborations to mini murals. Last year, I booked my largest one yet, which was actually for over $25,000, which blows my mind. But I can honestly say that this is possible, and it was done through literally sending an email. I also hope that you hear me when I say I talk about actual money figures to really try and take the yuck away from it all. I feel like we're so allergic to talking about what we earn and how much we charge, but whether that's a little or a lot, it never should be something we shy away from. The more that we talk about it and the more that we share, the more we'll be valued and the more our clients will also be educated on how much we're all worth, which is a lot. So here's a quick recap of the Pitch Like a Pro method, how to implement it, and roughly how much time I think maybe each step should take you. So the flirt to convert, make sure that when I think of a client I want to work with, that in that moment I put them in my Notion template or my Notion planner, make sure I'm following them, plan to engage for the next few months here and there before implementing my pitching strategy. The DM slide, a casual approach that does really work if you have great social proof. Again, a DM should take you 2 minutes. If you've already got it drafted out, it shouldn't be too hard. And the professional pitch and email is a great response if you meet someone at a networking event and you get their details, or if you have a direct line of contact to someone, use your contacts. If you have people in certain industries, don't be afraid to leverage them. People love actually helping us out. And then there's the right fit formula, and use this to suss out some specificity. There are companies and clients who you have no idea who they are, but they may be perfect and the perfect fit for your business. Practice pitching daily or weekly if you can, get into the habit. You won't feel the traction probably for a few weeks, but this is again to start that word of mouth compounding and to put your hat in the ring so that when that project comes up in 6 months' time with that specific company that you've been flirting with, they already know exactly who you are. I wanted to be really honest about pitching though as well. I think the reason that so many people don't do it, and even why it took me so long to start doing this in my career, it's not just the time element of sitting down and doing it, but it was also this real big fear of rejection. we don't put ourselves out there, and then we don't get rejected. So that's great, right? But it doesn't position us to get a heck of a lot of yeses. Not long ago, I was wanting to find an agency to work under to hopefully expand a little bit more internationally and work with some bigger brands. And to do this, I had to do a similar style pitch to what we've looked at tonight and work up a detailed portfolio of my work. It took me so long and lots of work. I was really, really proud of it. But when I sent it out, so I sent out 20 pitches to different agencies, and I got one response. One response out of 20. But that one actually turned out to be a yes. So what I'm saying here is that there's going to be a lot of no's, and prepare yourself for that. But try and treat it a little like maybe the dating scene. Not sure where you're at, but sometimes you have to play the numbers game where you say yes to any and all of the dates with little or no expectation in the hope that one surprises you and possibly ends up sticking. And I'm really, really holding out for us finding lots of long-term relationship clients. All this to say, be persistent, set aside the time each week, make it a task that becomes a must-do task. And I can tell you now, it will really, really surprise you what your business could look like in 6 months. To finish this class off, I wanted to swing back around and just emphasize that pitching is a big part, but only one part of the elements that I believe that we need to be consistent and to have consistent earnings as artists. The 5 things that I think we need in our art business to be successful long term, to make good money, and to hopefully quit our day jobs if that's what we want, is outreach, marketing, clear branding, communication, pricing yourself correctly, all of that legal stuff, and of course, our talented creative work. When we have these 5 things, and we also have our strong pitch, you will be surprised at how much growth will happen in your business. And to have that strong pitch, we need it to be direct, informative content. We need a beautiful presentation, professional presentation. We need creative and unique ideas, and a direct contact point for our outreach. So that real last practical step. Whew. So with all that in mind, how are we feeling? Give me oh, this is great. I'm just looking at the chat. Sorry guys, I haven't had time to look at it. Flirting, great. 25K job. Yep, it was a big one. I'll tell you about it on another masterclass. I'll get to some questions soon. But give me an emoji in the chat if you want. If you're feeling good, I'd love to see some engagement there if you can. Everything I've shared on tonight and everything I teach is a combination of how to grow in business and also in the corporate world, and also how to be unique, wild, and that free artist that we want to be, who makes the mundane really beautiful. It's what makes all of our methods a little different. And I believe that the reason that my teaching is different is because I'm an artist too, and I've been there and I've done it all. So it makes me a little different to a bunch of other mentors that I see out there. I'm hoping that all of the information was easy to digest and made it feel really doable and possible to fit into whatever schedules you have. I know we're all really busy and have so much that we're juggling. And what I'm about to say next is meant with love, and not to make you feel bad, but sometimes you need someone to give you the hard word. So today, that is me. After hearing about pitching yourself, you might think, oh, that's not so bad. I could probably do that. But you know that you are just hungry for more guidance. You probably still feel a bit foggy on what to do next. I mean, I'd love to ask if you've been feeling stuck, like you want to push your art business into earning more. I know we all feel like we want to be booking more clients, but we doubt our abilities sometimes when we get no's. We're comparing ourselves, possibly even wondering what to do next. Are you sitting there now though and know in your soul that you probably will walk away this week and maybe implement only one thing, or not even set aside the time to do a pitch? I'm here to tell you that if you invest in yourself and this business of yours, you will be able to succeed, and I'm proof of it. I honestly think that you have the exact same shot that I do at making it in this art business world. And even though I know there's a lot of information out there to absorb, I really wanted to bring everything that I've learnt in my career together in one place so you don't have to stumble through it or waste any time finding resources as well. So, just for a last few minutes, some of you may know, but last year I launched a course that goes so much deeper into each of the things I've touched on tonight. And this course is for you if you're about 1 to 2 years into your creative business, or you're ready to scale and you're just sick of playing that guessing game and stumbling through everything yourself. My past students sat in some of these following camps and we saw some really, really cool transformations in their business. They were frustrated with not seeing any progress or acceleration with their profits or their clients. They'd been an artist for 6 years, but things had actually dried up and they didn't know how to pivot. They had been an artist for a year, never sold any work before. They'd been an artist for 2 years as a side hustle and wanted to start taking it seriously to eventually quit their job. And one didn't even desire to quit their job, but they wanted to know exactly how to increase her profits for her side hustle to give her family more money and more access. I wanted to share that because I know creative businesses can be really lonely space. And probably most of us on this call have and potentially are still sitting in spaces of frustration or questioning the right paths and how to filter the right pieces of advice that are out there. If you did enjoy tonight and potentially are feeling one or all of the feelings that I've mentioned, I would love to be joined at the hip with you for 6 weeks and together work on everything you feel stuck on. I love helping other business owners audit all of their systems and their website, making sure that their pricing is where it should be, and ultimately get to the bottom of what's unique about their business and how they can focus on making more money. We ultimately all want more consistent clients and more projects that we love. And so that's something that's a real driver for me as well. In the course, we love talking real numbers. We get into the nitty-gritty, and I am happy to give you that hard chat around what is and actually what isn't going to make you any money in art. I said it before, but I have honestly tried it all. So before I show you everything briefly that is in this really special course that I've poured my blood, sweat, and tears into, I want to tell you why this course is different than so many others you'll see out there, and why I know your business will thank you for jumping on board. Most courses are either focused on the artist side or the e-commerce side. And I've brought together everything that I've learned from the corporate world, from how your presentation should look, pitching so you get noticed, accurate pricing, and communicating right with the big brands that you want to work with. I've translated it into strategies that have really, really worked for me and easy to learn methods that have worked for my past students as well. I've lived in that messiness, the chaotic life of side hustling, juggling day jobs, a family, trying to have a social life, as well as undercharging and second guessing myself along the way as well. This course gives you all the shortcuts that I just wish I had all along so that you just don't waste all the years figuring out the hard way. I've tested these strategies in almost every art lane. So I'm talking murals, licensing, wholesale, commissions, live illustration, exhibitions, big brand work with commercial, as well as even getting featured on podcasts and media outlets. I really have learned what works because I've done it and I've not just read about it. And also, if you're based in New Zealand or Australia, you know that there's very limited guidance out there for us. I've built my business here, and I also will show you how to make it work in that particular market. Everything still applies globally really well, but there is a special topic and niche in there. And finally, my teaching is hands-on. I believe it's kind but direct. I won't let you waste your time on things that don't make you money or move the needle. And every step is about building a business that actually makes you consistent profits and that actually lasts as well. I've made this course especially for creatives, and if you identify with any of these things below, I just want you to feel seen. I hear you. I have been you. And I know this because I've created this course for you. You're potentially overwhelmed by the business side of art, contracts, marketing, launches, and you just wish someone would guide you clearly. You potentially want to go full time. You've been dreaming about quitting your day job and working in your art full time, but practically you might not know actually where to start or how to make a plan for it. You've tried free resources and other courses, but nothing's moved that needle in your art business yet. You're tired of guessing your way through pricing, pitching, and finding clients. Either you're underselling yourself or you're potentially second guessing every single quote that you send out. You often work weekends and nights, but you don't want to, and ultimately want that time back for your family and the activities you love. You probably also want one-on-one advice, actionable plans to expand your business and to grow with a unique spin on your business. You keep hustling the same way, but your commission spots never feel full or profitable. So in these last few slides here, I would just love to tell you about how amazing Passion to Profession is. It's a one-on-one online mentorship program for artists by me, an artist who's been exactly where you are, and it's for people who want to get serious about their business. So I'll pop the link in the chat now if you are interested in checking out the information on the course. It's a 6-week online high-touch mentorship course where I walk alongside you, get to know everything that makes your business unique. I teach you everything I've learned over my last 9 to 10 years of business to get you moving confidently to a point where you'll be able to take your art full time. Together we unpack tools to transform your brand, work out exact numbers on how to price up any job. I give you all of my pitching templates, contracts and strategies to get you and your dream clients on board. And we look at how to make your art business stand out and sell consistently alongside your values. I thought I would also just say anyone that does sign up in the next hour, if you are really, really keen, will get a free one-on-one hour-long personal mentoring chat with me, either as a follow-up at the end or any SOS point through the course, which has been, these one-on-ones have been really invaluable for my past students, and they set them up for the future so specifically as well. There'll be a little 20% off code in the next few slides as well. So if you did want to sign up, that link will be popped in the chat now as well for just to directly enroll if you're keen. But keep an eye on that discount code in a second. This is just a rundown here of what you'll get if you do enroll in this 3rd term, which starts in a week's time on the 22nd of September. We start the term off with an hour-long one-on-one session, just me and you, where we chat everything that's going on for you and your business. We can look at every single goal that you have and ones that I think that might be relevant for you. We look at how we're going to focus the year and make shifts in your business plans that will actually get you closer to quitting that job if that's what you wish, or earning more profits, which of course that's what we wish, in the ways that obviously align with your business values. I give you on-the-spot advice in our one-on-one sessions, but we also look at real actionable items that you can implement throughout the 6 weeks as well. And a new module is released weekly with a live video call where we hop on together, we jump on Zoom and we pick through all the juicy questions that have come up that week. This term I've also designed little half-hour mini workshops for the start of each call. So it's kind of like this masterclass, except it's a 20-minute little workshop, so that we walk away with really practical plans each week as well, and live lessons on things similar to like email marketing. We look at social media strategy, website audits, and even AI challenges to improve our business strategy. There's 55 video lessons throughout the whole course, which is mammoth, and it sounds mammoth, but they're only they're only like 2 minutes to 10 minutes long, so it's really digestible. I hand you all of my templates, all of my contracts, and a huge pricing Bible that will paint a full picture of how you should price literally any project that you come across, no matter how complicated. The pricing Bible is one of the greatest things about this course because I find hardly anyone wants to actually tell you the hard numbers. So it's something I'm really proud of that's a part of this course. And as a bonus, you also have a 24-hour hotline to me as well. So in the last few terms, my students most days would send me voice messages, emails with templates to review, as well as many how on earth do I price those kind of questions. So we are joined at the hip. It is really great. Passion to Profession, this time around will have limited spaces just because I have realized I love to keep the group small so that we can really get down to the bones of what makes your business tick and how we can make it really your full-time profession in the most unique ways. It's important to me that you get the really close personal business support you need, and it's just why I focus on those smaller intakes. So really quickly, this is just what these modules will look like. If you are interested, each week we uncover a new one. Pitching is a really small part of the Dream Client Hustle module, so there's just so much more to learn about chasing our dream clients. So through those 55 video lessons, they'll help you coach through every element of what's going to help you get more profits and potentially decrease your hours at your day job if that's what you wish. The modules we are going to unravel are the Dream Client Hustle, where we unlock more secrets to pitching, cold calling, more on selling about through social media while staying true to our values and knowing when to pivot. And by the end of that week, you have a practical plan to get all the clients that you have dreamed of getting. And I personally hand you all of the customizable templates that I use in my business. Week 2 is Marketing Mojo, where we accelerate your marketing game across various social platforms without it being a chore. And you gain practical steps to increase your brand visibility without spending all your money. Of course, you already have some of my pitching templates, but you also have access to my quoting templates to give you the best shot in landing your dream clients. And we will also be looking at when to be professional and when to be approachable as a business. Week 3 is Sell Your Story, and here we learn how to harness storytelling to present your business and product successfully. And this week we will create your perfect elevator pitch, packaging, and your branding. This crafts a really consistent and unforgettable experience of your business that connects with your clients and audience, which ultimately means you can charge more and be seen as higher value in your industry. Week 4 is Cash and Contracts, where we work through every single complexity of a contract, when they're needed and how to enforce them. And I send you all of my contract templates. They've been checked thoroughly by a lawyer, so they're fully legit. So you walk away feeling really equipped with the tools to run your creative business smoothly. As I mentioned, week 5 is Price Like a Boss. It's the hugest week, and it's one that my students last year found the most valuable on learning how to master the art of pricing to get all of that confidence and to make sure you're valuing yourself. You gain insights into setting those initial prices with really practical templates throughout on pricing examples for specific jobs and quoting templates as well. We look at how to raise those prices incrementally and how to create a demand for your work as well. The module covers cost management, invoicing structures, negotiating boundaries with friends and family, and it's such a juicy week. I know it's one of the biggest pain points for a lot of people. So you walk away with really hard actual figures of how you can price any job. Week 6 is called My Bonus Secrets, and it's where I uncover when to focus on growth versus when to stay grounded in your work. We look at how to launch your new products properly. And I also talk you through exactly how I sell out every commission launch that I do and what I call the hype method. I teach you to apply this in various ways to increase the excitement, the exclusivity, and the hype in your audience so that you can sell out as well. We also workshop a little bit in this week of how to work towards quitting your day job practically. I am way over time. I am so sorry. So I'm just going to steam through. This here, I won't go through what I was going to say, but pretty much there's live elements all throughout it. We have just such a high touch relationship through the 6 weeks. It's really amazing. We sit down once a week with the whole group where we can ask questions and get feedback on anything that you are wanting feedback on. The whole course is completely online. Each module will be able to be completed in your own time, and you'll have 365 days of access to. So I didn't want it to feel like a time burden. I wanted it to be condensed so that you can take it on when you need to, when you can fit it in with your family. So each video, as I said, was about 5 to 10 minutes long. So just as I finish up, I wanted to share some of the amazing outcomes for my students last year. I had to share them because they really, really put in the work and saw their businesses grow. Within the group, we had people have sellout commissions that booked them out for 6 months. We had awards won, 6-figure jobs quoted with confidence, new products launched, and the fog was completely lifted in spaces where the business felt directionless. I'm not the type of person that you might see all over the internet telling you you're going to earn $1 million if you do my course. That's not how I roll. But I can guarantee you that if you implement everything provided to you in this course and set up really strong business foundations with a focus on how you're going to aim for the future, you will see success and a long career as an artist. I will say as well, you don't have to be an artist. I've helped mentor illustrators, artists, graphic designers, and photographers as well. So any type of creative is welcome. On the sales page there, if you do want to go through it, there are 2 options to invest and enroll in the course, or you can opt for the one-off payment, which works out to be $199 cheaper in the long run. I have also recently signed up for a mentor myself, and I can say that it has just been invaluable. So I hope that I can potentially be this for you over the next 6 weeks. As I mentioned, there's a little discount just for showing up tonight. I really appreciate you being on the call. It's been really amazing to be surrounded by people who also want to grow their art business. It's a really challenging space. And I'm grateful that you've been eager to learn. So here's a 20% discount if you are wanting to join the course, $360 off, and it'll be available for the next 3 days. So if you want to join up. And again, as I mentioned, there's that one-on-one call if you do sign up in the next hour. Okay, we have reached the end. My goodness, I did not realize I'd go that long. I am so sorry. I am going to stick around for a little bit for some Q&A if you like. And just while you do think of any questions, if you have some, I'm just going to press play on this because I have to share these incredible people and what they've achieved. But if you take off from here, it's been wonderful having you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure I'll see you on socials. Please tag me if you've taken any photos tonight, or if you do pitch to people. I'd love to hear you brag about it. It's the best. But yeah, here is some of my students. Oh no, sorry.
I'm Taylor, a pointillism artist in Christchurch, New Zealand.
I'm Terry Linda, and I am a watercolour and ink artist based in the South Island of New Zealand.
I am Sean McCarroll, the artist behind Shawnee Max Art.
I was a part of Ellie's Tomb 2 Passion to Profession, and I went into it feeling a little bit lost, directionless, lacking consistency, and also a little bit lonely in business.
I think the course is designed so well. It's designed for people like myself who are only just starting out on this journey. I think for people that are working as full-time artists who may be struggling, looking to grow their business, then the course is absolutely a must-do, in my opinion.
I think one of the most important things to share for me was actually my access to Ellie throughout the program and her incredible encouragement and support and hands-on nature. That for me was just transformational with this particular course. So if you're thinking about it, do it. You won't regret it.
It was the best thing I did for my business. I have done a lot of courses in the past that are e-commerce related or marketing related, but I think just having someone as an artist themselves, getting the same sort of feelings, but also teaching you the business aspects and just the marketing, like it was all included, and it was such a cool course, and I want to do it again.
I think some of the things that I've taken away from Ellie's course is I've finally learned how to talk about my work in a way that really resonates with me. Another huge win as well was I launched my commissions for the first time and I sold out on my commission launch day. So that was huge. If you are an artist and you're feeling stuck or you're feeling invisible, then I honestly think that you should give passion to profession a go. It's been life-changing.
The support throughout the course was next level. The weekly calls, the templates, the resources. Ellie is always available via messaging, which is super helpful. Since completing the course, I've actually gone on to do my biggest mural yet. So if you are an artist wanting to take things seriously, take things to the next level, this course has been such a great step forward and I could not recommend it enough.
After completing the course, I feel like I am walking away with so much knowledge, confidence, and inspiration to achieve my dream of becoming a full-time artist. I owe all of that to Ellie and the Passion to Profession course. For anybody considering taking on this course, I highly recommend you take that plunge and just go for it. Invest in yourself. It's totally worth it.